And of course, the moment I hit record, the neighbor starts mowing. He's good about that. I'm not sure how he does that. All right, welcome back. Once again, this is a follow-up video to the video where we polished one of the 10ER wave tubes over here on my Shopsmith Mark V using this homemade steady rest. And this follow-up will address some of your questions, comments, and cheap shots. And I think that some ideas from this will evolve into their own full-blown video. But if you're not familiar with these follow-up videos, they're live for about a week, and then they become channel member content over at mygrowthrings.com. If you're interested in that and supporting the channel for less than the cost of a monthly magazine, if there are any of those still left, check it out, mygrowthrings.com. Okay, so we're going to go with safety first. Jack said, maybe you should have a face shield on? Yes, maybe I should have a face shield on. A lot of people have said that to me throughout my life, but in this case, for my own safety, it probably would have been a great idea. So thank you, Jack, for watching out for me, even when I'm not. So James had a couple comments, but probably the one that should be answered right now is he said, too bad I can't use this method just to shine up the wave tubes on my only 520. But to do so would require spare tubes in order to cycle through them. Yeah, I guess you would. To be able to use this as a lathe, you'd have to have two tubes to use as a lathe. There was a great idea shared on the Shopsmith forums a while back about building a couple end supports that could be clamped to a table or a workbench, and then you could polish your tubes using a powered sander of some sort. They were using one of the semi-new Harbor Freight drum sanders, the handheld drums. I forget what they call them. They're the ones that they got sued over because their Bauer version looked way too close to the one that they copied, but you can still get the Hercules brand from them. It uses about a 6-inch long drum, and this person on the forum was using that to spin their tubes on a rig that was made up of 4 wheels from Harbor Freight. Now, you'll see something more about that in just a moment, but I think that's a great idea for somebody who doesn't have an extra Shopsmith laying around. And we'll come back to James's other question in just a moment. Gravel Rat 78 said, I know where the wobble came from. Ah, okay, we'll see. Then he says, Mark, you talked about this in one of your setup videos. Who's Mark? Who's Mark? Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome to the My Growth Rings channel. You talked about this in one of your setup videos from years past. The wave tubes aren't perfectly straight. They are bananas. That's right, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. So that's certainly one of the contributing factors. The wave tubes on these machines are usually not 100% perfectly fat. Fat? Not fat at all. They're not perfectly flat. The way these are ground in a method called centerless grinding, which means when they're new, they're not mounted between 2 centers like on a lathe and then ground round. If they did that, then the interior ID, the bore down the center, would be perfectly concentric with the outside diameter, and that's not the way they are done. So, couple things. First off, they're often not 100% flat, but they're flat enough over their length that it doesn't seem to cause any problem. But if I really wanted to do this and eliminate perhaps that off center from the grinding, I should grip them from the outside of the tube. So anybody who's suggested maybe I should go ahead and use a lathe chuck would be correct in that guess. Let's see, we had another guess here. The Red Truck Woodshop 2722 says the wobble could be coming from 2 places. Like Gravel Rat 78 said, the tubes are bent, but my bet is on the steady rest wheels not being truly round. So there's 3 potential contributors. 1, I'm mounting it from the inside diameter, so that may not be perfectly centered. Could be that they're shaped like bananas. Or could it be that the wheels on my steady rest, my probably 30-year-old steady rest, that those wheels aren't perfectly round. Well, let's zoom in for a close-up and see if that could be a contributing factor. Slide this in close. Yeah. That may have had something to do with it. So even before I filmed the video, that thought occurred to me because the wheels are so old. So I purchased replacement wheels that I intended to use. Aren't those pretty? But the problem was I gave myself very little time, and then I realized that the bore on these bearings is larger than the ones that I used here. So I'm going to have to remount these on some larger bolts, but this is the future of that steady rest. So yeah, I think both of you guys win a gold star this week. All right, now back to Todd. Todd said, I'd be interested in details on how you set up an extended tailstock for your other turning projects. Briefly mentioned, but certainly the steady rest is an amazing, useful asset, well worth the time of constructing. Several people commented how a steady rest is worth the time constructing. So I'm actually going to make a new one, not in this video, but I've always wanted this to be a little bit larger. So I will make a video we'll dedicate to the development or to the designing and building of a new tailstock like that. I will be using those wheels, which I'll link in the video description if you want to have those on hand. James also commented about the bed extension, topics of a new video. Let me show you my bed extension, and then I'll explain why I haven't really covered this in any detail till now. Okay, so this is her. I cobbled this together some time ago when I just needed a little bit more length on the lathe, and I wanted to turn between centers. Supporting it from a chuck on one end and a steady rest on the other just wasn't going to work for me. So this was totally temporary, but it certainly did the job. Let me take a moment to install this. Yeah, if I had this part to do over again, I would do it differently. All I've done here is I've used a couple of U-bolts that reach around the tubes and cinch it up, holding it firmly in place. I also passed a couple table tubes that I had left over. So those are not really permanent either. Lock it in place, and then on go the U-bolts. All right, so that's basically how that works. Let me spin the camera around. So here you can see I mounted a standard Mark V tailstock to it, and these parts are the parts I would use to clamp it in place. If I loosen this and show you the undercarriage, let me just pull these tubes out. As you can see, they were tubes from the main table of one of these machines. There's lots of hardware here. Oh, and they still have the sticker from Handyman Hardware in Dayton, Ohio on them. On the back side, you can see I have a support piece that nestles up against the way tubes. I've got a solid block that rests here against the bench ends, and you can see where the tailstock passes through another solid block of oak. So that gives me a couple points of contact, plus if I get a ton of pressure here, it's going to push against that block on the bottom. Okay, so I had another idea, and this idea just fizzled out right before my very eyes. And that was, I took this fixture that I made to clamp onto my extension table, and I used this with my sharpening jig. This is for my lathe tools when I'm sharpening them on the disc sander. And I showed this in a video a while back where because I've used a groove and because this clamps to the edge of the extension table, I'm able to mount it on the far side with a disc on the far side, and I can then move this on the table, get the full usage of that abrasive disc. My thinking was, as you can see, you're already ahead of me here, by mounting casters, I might be able to use this on this end as something of a steady rest. This is the same configuration that the idea on the Shopsmith forums had come up with, using a pair of these, each of the pair of pairs, mounted on opposite sides on a bench or on a table, even on 2 extension tables on your Shopsmith, with the tube rotating in the center. And my thought was, I'll just mount this right on the extension table. Problem is, my extension table doesn't go low enough. And even take into consideration that I've got a stop collar here, even without that stop collar, this just wouldn't drop low enough to be able to support that. So maybe mount it a little bit differently. That could work. Wheels mounted off one side or the other, so they're lower, but well, in fact, let's see, with that Forstner bit, which is the size of my tubes, yeah, okay, so that could work. I'm not going to do it now. My heart's already broken. I thought I had this thing licked. It's a good thing this video is going to be private in about a week. Anyway, that's my thinking, and maybe we'll pursue this at some other point, but for now I'm going to wrap it up. Make it a great day.